Hello, and welcome to Spirit Forest. Yes, I am still in the city. Wow, it's been an eye-opener to be in the city for this long period of time for me. If you're not familiar with my channel is an outdoors channel, and the majority of the time that I'm filming, I'm actually outdoors in the woods or hiking or any of that. It is about the middle of April right now. In case some of you are asking why I'm not wearing a mask, I'm in my backyard, so I think I don't have to wear a mask in my backyard right now, and I feel pretty safe. So in case someone who wants to comment on that, that is the reason why I'm not wearing a mask. I do wear one when I go to the store. I wear one when I walk Rocky. For those of you who don't know who Rocky is, he's my dog. So when I started this channel, I was really transforming myself into someone who was more outdoors and more in the mountains than in the city. And now over this month and a half or so, I've been in the city more, and like I said, I'm experiencing some more city stuff. And I have a story to tell you of one of the experiences that I've had. Getting a little chilly. I had some weather coming in. It's a little cold. So with my story, I was driving. This was a couple weeks ago, before everyone had to wear masks. Was it before lockdown? It was right before lockdown for Colorado. And I was out and about with my kids getting some necessities that we needed. And I was driving down a street that had a little small median. And I'm going to show you some pictures here so you can kind of see the area and know what I'm talking about. And as I was driving down, I looked over to my left, and there was a body there, and it was laying down, and I don't know how to explain it, but it was just sprawled down. I think one arm was back like this, another arm, there was a sign that came through the armpit like this, almost like this person was cuddling with the sign or something. Legs were wide open. Legs were partly off the curb, and I thought this person was dead. Literally it was a dead body on the side of the road, and people were just driving by. I was the only one that slowed down. I literally almost came to a stop, and people driving by it's not a big deal. I'm there's possibly a dead body on the side of the road, everyone. No one's gonna stop? So I told my kids, and I know I had my kids in the car, and I said, I can't just drive by. That's not me. I can't do that. I said, we need to check this out. And so, well, I say we, it's really me. I left my kids in the car and locked the door. I'm not in a good neighborhood, I would say. So I could still see where my kids were. I parked my car, and again, people were driving by. They didn't even, it's they didn't even see this body just laying there on the side of the road. And so I'm getting out of my car, and I approached the body. Ooh, it's chilly. It's really windy. I'm not sure if it's windy in the camera, but that was really cold wind. I think I lost my son. So I approached this body, and her legs were laying down like this. Now, at first I didn't know it was a male or female. I honestly couldn't tell. It would end up being a female, but she had her head all shaved about like that. It looked like a male at first. I thought it was a male. Anyways, doesn't matter. So I go up to him and her, and I yell and I say, hello, hello. Now, for those of you that don't know, I have been on the search and rescue team. It's I know what to do, but I'm not, it's there's a virus going around. And at that point, I didn't have a mask on or anything like that. And I wasn't going to touch this person, because a lot of times you want to touch them and move them. And, if they're passed out, you want to wake them up. And I'm looking to see if they're breathing. I couldn't see if they were breathing or not. And then I kicked her shoe a little bit, no response at all. It was like a dead body was laying there. And so then I come, must have been really weird. Cars are driving by, nothing's things going on. Cars are driving by, and I'm sitting there like this, trying to figure out if this person's breathing or not, because I'm trying to see if their chest is going up and down, to see if they're breathing. Well, turns out she was breathing. So I'm like, she's alive. But I'm like, something's wrong with her, because like I was yelling, and I got a voice on me if I want to. I got a voice on me, so there's no reason why this person wouldn't have woken up. So I called 911, and there's only been a few times in my life where I've called 911, but this one I felt was needed. I was like, something's wrong, you know, this isn't right. Like, especially the way this person was laying there in the middle of the median. And so as I was on the phone with 911 doing, you know, the normal stuff that you do, and actually it took me 2 calls to get into 911, but I eventually got in. And then while I was on the phone with 911, another car came pulling up, and she rolled down her window. She's like, yeah, I saw that body sitting there. Is this person alive? And I was like, you saw this body and you didn't even stop, you know? She's like, I just want to check to make sure everything's okay. I'm like, I don't know if everything's okay. And I was like really honest, you know, it's like, I don't know if everything's okay, but I'm calling 911. So I think we're okay now, you know, so someone else is going to be here to be able to handle this. And so 911 was trying to give me like, well, you know, she's probably, I think it sounded like she was reading from some script. You want to do this, and then you want to do that. And I'm like, I am not touching this person, is what I told her. I said, there's a virus going around, and I am not touching this person. I said, I tapped her foot. Well, during that time, while I was on the phone with 911, this person wakes up. You know, and it's just like woken up from like a week's worth of sleep or something, you know, and looks over at me, and I'm on the phone with 911, and I end up telling this person, because again, I didn't know if it was male or female. I'm like, are you okay? Yeah, I was like, I just called 911 because I thought you were dead. And the person wakes up and was like, you called 911? And I'm like, yeah, I did, you know. And so the person at 911 was on the phone. I said, hey, she's awake now. Now I knew it was a female. I'm like, she's awake right now. And I don't know if you want to call the fire truck off or whatever you want to do. But I was like, she's awake. And now like she's freaking out. So 911 said, hey, just flag down the fire truck when they get there. And I was like, okay. So 911 hung up on me. Or not hung up, but you know, they're like, okay, thanks, let us know, call us back if you need us. And I'm like, okay. So they wanted me to stay around. Well, now I got this person that is possibly pretty drugged up, would be my guess. This person's pretty drugged up. And she doesn't know where she's at. And she's just like, what do you mean you called 911? And she stands up, and now she's walking in towards the street where all the cars are coming. And I'm like, ah! I was like, stop. And I'm like, you know, because I don't want to touch her, you know what I mean? Because it's like, anyways, I'm like, it's not because she was nasty. It's the virus stuff, just so you know. If it was probably any other day, I'd grab her so she wouldn't get hit by a car. But I was like, you're going to get hit by a car. Turn around. And I'm yelling at her, you know. Turn around. My kids are in my car that I could see up. Like Madison's eyes is like really big like this, you know. And Kyla's in the back being like, what are you doing, Mom? The fire truck's coming, so you can see the fire truck, and so I'm telling this girl, and I said, hey, I thought you were dead. Like, I called 911, I was yelling, I tapped your foot, you were not responsive, you know. And she's like, I'm fine, I'm just waiting at a bus stop, and I took a little nap. And I told her, I said, well, you're not at a bus stop. This is not a bus stop. And she's like, yes, it is. This is the sign. And I'm showing you a picture of the sign. It's not a bus stop sign. And it's in the middle of a median. So I was like, you know, you might want to get to the side of the road, you know. And at this point, the fire truck is coming at me, and I'm flagging it down, you know. And I told the guy in the fire truck, I said, hey, I'm the one that called it in, but I honestly thought she was dead and she wasn't responsive, but now she's moving around. And hold on, there's people coming. Sorry, there's people walking by, so not everyone wants to hear my story, I'm sure. So, the fire truck guy like looked at me and like rolled his eyes and left. Didn't say anything to me. Just as like, yeah. And I was just like, what? And then the girl that was down on the ground, she's like, I'm a bum. You know, sometimes I just need to sleep where I want to sleep. And I said, well, you shouldn't be sleeping here. You shouldn't be sleeping like on a bench somewhere. You should, not in the middle of a meeting with your parts of your body hanging out on the road. And I ended up telling her, I said, I'm just trying to help you, and now I'm feeling like, man, I got to justify my reason for calling. And then a policeman comes by and's like, what's going on here? And so I had to explain to him, and I said, I said, there's something wrong, as like, I just called her. I just called 911 because I don't know, like I thought she was dead, and like something was wrong with her, and obviously something's wrong with her, So I'm getting ready to leave now because now the cop's there, and I'm like, I don't need to be here anymore. And I even asked him, I said, you don't need me anymore, right? And he's like, no, you go ahead and go. And I'm like, that's your job. That's not my job. You know what I mean? Like, that's a tough job to have. So as I was leaving, I was passing her, and I told her, I said, I'm sorry, I called 911, because I was starting to feel bad that I like interrupted her day or her nap, in the middle of the street. And she said to me, which made me feel really good, she ended up saying, she's like, no, you continue to do that. You continue to stop and you call 911 when you see someone that you think is dead on the side of the road. And she was really sincere about it. She says most people wouldn't call. A lot of people just drive by me. They don't even care to call. She says, you keep calling. And that to me, that made me feel good. Even though I interrupted the fire department, even though the policeman had to come and all that, that made me feel good, that I did it. There was another time in my life, and maybe I'll tell you here shortly, now the mailman's here. Okay, we're just going to talk through the mailman. It's all good. He can hear my story. So, where was I? So she said those words to me, which really meant a lot to me, because I am the type of person that if I see a dead person on the side of the road, I'm going to stop, and I am happy that I did it. There were so many people, I couldn't even count how many cars just drove by her. It saddens me to know that people would just drive by. I mean, what if that was your loved one? Like I have some troubled people in my family, and I hope that if my troubled person, my family was on the side of the road, that someone would try to stop to help them. I hope that she's doing well. A lot of times you can't help these people. This is the life choice that they've made, and I'm not here to talk about like how homeless live or anything like that. It's not something I'm knowledgeable in, and their lifestyle. A lot of times on my channel, I get told that I'm a homeless person all the time. Multiple times a month I would get that once I put up my tent. When I put up my tent, I get some nasty people telling me that all I'm doing is showing off that I'm, or not showing off, that I'm showing that I'm homeless like it's a benefit, and why don't I just go get a house? I do get things like that, but people don't know my story. They see one video and they see my tent and think I live in it full time and all that. They don't know my story. They don't realize like I live that life because I enjoy it. I live that life because I'm outside. I live that life because I don't think we're meant to be in a house all the time. And that's just my thoughts, But I do wish her well, and I'm very happy that I stopped and try to help her in a way that I could help. Now, there was a time, and I'm gonna mention this because I said I was going to mention it. There was a time when I was in Mexico. I drove from Arizona down to, I don't remember the town. It was, I came from Phoenix area and basically drove. Came from the Phoenix area and I just drove south until I hit the ocean. And then I was with like 15 other people and stuff like that. So it was like a big group of people that I was with. we were driving down this road that had like, there was no houses or anything like that. It was just fields, not even fields. It was just desert, actually, just a desert. And there was a body on the side of the road. There was. And I was telling the driver, I was like, we need to stop. We need to stop. There's a body. And she says, you don't stop in Mexico. You know, and today I still remember that. And I think that was like 5 years ago that happened. And today I feel guilty for not stopping. And, you know, it's like a lot of times it's like we see, I guess I'm going to get into some sort of, I'm just going to talk with you. You know, we see a puppy on the side of the road, we all stop and we try to help it. Like you see it. You see a dog that's loose and everyone's like, oh my gosh, everybody stops their car and tries to help this puppy and try to figure out whose puppy this is. And, you know, we need to find its home. But when it comes to people, we don't do that. We don't do that. Why don't we stop and help other people? Is it because we kind of come to this conclusion that, you know, they could have helped themselves, or, you know, they're on too many drugs, or they did this to themselves, or they don't care, and some of them probably don't, you know, some of them like that lifestyle, but we don't try to help them. There's so many times where I just feel guilty, especially when my kids aren't in my house and I got this like, I don't know, 3-bedroom house and it's just me in it, and there's somebody that's living, like there's tents, not kidding you, there's tents within 1.5 miles of my house. You know, there's people living in tents right there. And it's like they can't take a shower, they don't have fresh water, and I'm here in this 3-bedroom, really big house. And just me. And I feel bad. It's like sometimes I'm like, I want to help them. You know, like I want to be like, come over here, take a shower. You know, why don't you sleep here and figure out your life, you know, like I want to do that, but I'm just like everybody else, like, well, maybe they'll steal something, or maybe they'll hurt me, or maybe they'll, you know, like, I don't know. But when it comes to a puppy, where everybody stops their car and helps them. I don't know, I guess it's kind of a sad video a little bit, but, you know, if you see somebody on the side of the road you think is dead, don't just drive by. You know, have some compassion for people that are struggling in life. And you know, you can't always help them. I get that. We can't always help them. But maybe, you know, me being in the city, I see this a lot more, and I'm walking a lot around my neighborhood like crazy because I'm walking in circles. And I see a lot of it. I see a lot of it around here, and it hurts me. It makes me sad. I mean, it makes me sad seeing that, and I feel selfish for having such a big house. Oh, I'm sorry this video wasn't as, you know, inspiring or happy or anything like that, but I just kind of wanted to share some of my life here in the city and some of the things I'm experiencing, and you know, some things that have made me kind of sad being here. And I keep saying it, I said, this is the reason why I want to move. You know, I just want to be in the mountains, you know. I want to be in my tent right now, actually. That's what I really want. I really want to be either in my Viking tent or my big canvas tent and like listen to the rain on the top of the tent. I really like that. I am, will be happy when they lift this lockdown, and one of the first things I'm doing is going up there because I'm starting to need it. Okay, I hope you're having a good day, and I will see you on my next video. Bye-bye.